Say what you will about Reddit, but it is very hard to argue against its sheer usefulness. Sort of like Google, but with more angst, and more often than not, if you have a question about a particular topic, then you will be able to get some kind of answer for your question there. And the range on these topics is vast. Want help figuring out which graphics card to get? Why your car is making that squealing noise? Why your knee is making that popping noise when you sit down? Why that rash won't go away even though you've been using the cream as recommended, yet the itching still persists on your dick? How to get past level 1180 on Candy Crush? How to drink Baileys from a shoe? How to change your alternator? What happened to that character from that show a few years back? And it doesn't stop there. You want to see cursed images, video breakdowns, conspiracy theories, porn, game reviews, news, and some of the dankest memes ever uploaded to the internet? Then Reddit has all of that, and whatever else your curious mind wants to know. There are countless communities on the platform that people go to when they want advice or help on a certain subject. One of the most popular communities on Reddit is r/relationship advice. Here, as the name suggests, people can come and vent out their worries, frustrations, or overall confusion relating to their personal relationships. It is one of the best communities I have ever seen, and there are thousands of individuals on there who are taking their time to help complete strangers. However, on October 28, 2016, a post would be made that would catch more and more attention as the days passed. The OP was a man going by the handle jasoninhell. His post was directed at getting advice on his marriage and the fact that his wife had recently cheated on him with their neighbor. What started as a man voicing out his frustration, fears, and hesitation to speak out blew up into an outcome that would knock the wind out of everyone engaging in the post. What follows is the true story of Jason Worley, otherwise known as Jason in Hell. The story starts with Jason putting up a post in the relationships advice subreddit. It goes like this. It's been 476 days since I caught my wife cheating on me with our neighbor. How do I know it's been that long? Because when I catch myself thinking about it, I just tell myself it's only been X number of days and it will probably get better as time goes on. Jason then goes on to tell his entire story. He starts from the beginning. Let's go back to May of 2015. Jason begins a new project in which he is working extremely long hours and is extremely stressed. This is also around the time that he starts to notice that his wife now has a password lock on her phone, something she had never done in the past since he had known her. Finding this weird, Jason brought this up to his wife. She told him that it was because she was planning something special for his upcoming birthday and wanted to keep it a surprise. So, she now keeps a password on her phone. About a week later, she told him that she didn't want to keep any secrets from him because she felt guilty and confessed that she was having an office built for him in their home that was being built by their neighbor. I know this is beside the point, but I have no idea how you would hide building an extra room in the house you both live in. So honestly, that didn't make a lot of sense to me. Jason says that he found this odd, since in their 6 years together, she always told him that she never felt guilty for anything and never regrets anything in her life. Days turn to weeks, and Jason's worry and panic grows. His wife's phone is still password protected, and he notices her using it more and more and smiling to herself every time she's on it. When he asks her about it, she always quickly puts her phone down and says it's nothing. With his speculation about the entire ordeal growing, Jason is able to get a hold of his wife's phone one morning while she is in the shower. He was able to get to it before it locked, and he started going through her messages. He sees the text thread to the neighbor, he clicks it, and it opens. The text reads, "I'm all covered in frosting. Want to come lick it off?" That was the only message between the two of them, and whether it was denial or him just trying to see the situation from all sides, Jason chalked it up to his wife having a very perverted sense of humor and figured she meant nothing by it. As more time goes by, the paranoia continues growing for Jason. He tells us that he has noticed large gaps in her Google timeline from where she had been turning off her GPS. Feeling that he is reaching his breaking point, he tells his wife that he needs to install a new antivirus software on her phone, and while he has it, he installs an anti-theft program which will allow him to turn on the phone's GPS, and he also sets up message backup so he can read all of her text messages. The next day, while he is at work, Jason is able to monitor her location since she is off work that day and the kids are with Jason's mother. She spends hours trying multiple times to meet up with the neighbor, but is unable to do so because of his workload. That night, when they get the kids back from Jason's mom, they all go out to dinner with the neighbor, his girlfriend, and their son. While they are at dinner, Jason's uncomfortable feeling increases, and it's at this point that the neighbor's girlfriend suggests her and Jason's wife go out to see a movie. And Jason and the neighbor's kid can go back to their house so they can play video games, and Jason and the neighbor can hang out. When they are back home, Jason and the neighbor are sitting across from each other on the couch, watching TV, and this is when Jason's wife starts texting the neighbor, while simultaneously, Jason is getting these exact same text messages to his phone thanks to the software that he installed. Jason's wife begins to sext the neighbor, and the neighbor reciprocates back. She sends him a video of her fingering herself in the bathroom stall, and then they start talking of plans of when they can meet up, and they pick Monday morning when Jason is at work. At this point, Jason now has confirmation his wife is cheating on him, and the man she is doing it with is mere inches away. The anger that must be building in Jason would make most snap right there and knock him out. But Jason is able to keep his composure. His anger, though, then turns to heartbreak when he sees the next messages they send. "You're my girl now." And she replies, "Always have been," with him responding, "And always will be." When Jason's wife and the neighbor's girlfriend come back from the movie, Jason asks them to sit down and goes into his kids' room and tells them to stay upstairs and closes the door. He comes back downstairs and announces to them, "So you two love each other, huh?" His wife denies all of this, and the neighbor's girlfriend starts smacking the neighbor. He confronts his wife again and he asks if she's been texting him, and she denies it. He shows her the messages and she says it was the first time it had ever gone that far. He asks about the pictures and she again denies it until he shows her and she again says that it was the first time it had happened, and then goes on to say that they never actually had sex. Since Jason had no physical proof of this, then he cannot argue against it. In a fit of anger, Jason tells her that he is leaving her, and she snaps back and says that if he does, she will make sure he never sees his kids, and will go to court telling them that he tried to commit suicide back in high school, and that he would be an unfit parent because of this. She then blames him for what she had been doing with the neighbor because Jason has been working so much lately and hasn't given her the things that she needs to be happy. She then gives him an ultimatum and tells him to make a choice or she will. The neighbor's girlfriend says they need to work it out because they are so good together, arguing that if his wife and the neighbor, her boyfriend, hadn't had sex, then it can't have been that serious and they shouldn't let something like this destroy their marriage. Over the course of the weekend, Jason and his wife continue fighting and they settle on taking a break and separating for the time being. Jason will stay at home and his wife and the kids will stay with her mother. The next day, while Jason is at work, he gets a text from his wife and tells him that he needs to explain to the kids why they are not living together anymore. She tells the kids that because daddy is mad at her, that she had to move out. Their son put it together that because daddy was mad at mommy, then he must also be mad at him since he also isn't staying at the house. His wife did nothing to correct this. The daughter was too young to understand really what was going on with the entire situation. Jason realized then that if he went through with the divorce, that she would put both him and the kids through hell, and for the sake of his children, Jason begged her to stay. She ultimately did, and told him that he also would need to apologize to the neighbor. Since both their son and the neighbors were close friends, they would need to be nice to each other so that it wouldn't affect their friendship. Jason agrees to this as well and apologizes for the sake of his children and attempts to move on. After this, things did seem to die down for almost a year. Things were still uncomfortable, granted, but Jason was trying to make the marriage work. It was near Father's Day when Jason found out that she had been sending pictures to the neighbor again, and when he confronted her about it, she claimed it was an accident and she meant to send them to Jason. It is at this point that Jason's original post ended, with him saying that it had been about 4 months since then and he was still very on edge. He couldn't stop thinking about what had happened, and that his job performance was struggling as a result of the stress and fatigue the entire ordeal was putting on him. He worried that he made the wrong choice, but feels now that if he goes through with the divorce, then it will only make her more angry at him, and she will make the divorce very ugly. He feels that he is stuck and doesn't know what to do, and this is why he made the post, because he didn't know who to turn to about any of this. Reddit was brutally honest. Sometimes too brutal, but necessary for Jason. Some were insulting him for not being a man and dropping her. Others were understanding and tried giving him sound advice. These were some of the responses to Jason's post. You are trying to navigate this alone, and you should seek counsel ASAP. You should have done this months ago. Your wife's threat should hold no weight until you can get a professional legal opinion on your exposure in a divorce. You won't be doing your children any favors by remaining in a marriage that is now founded on lies, infidelity, and outright bullying. She made you apologize to your neighbor, and you did it? Come on, man. You cannot honestly say that you see any sort of future here that isn't hell on earth for you. So for your sake and the sake of your children, get to a lawyer ASAP and follow his directions to the letter. Grow some balls. He should have gotten a lawyer as soon as he had all that information together. It's been over a year now and the wife knows he knows. He has no more hidden cards and the element of surprise is gone. Unfortunately, OP made the wrong decision and caved into her blackmailing. Even if he had good reason to do it, still wrong decision, and given her more power in this scenario. I think the best thing he can do now is suck it up and keep on keeping on. It's understandable that you want to keep your children out of this mess and spare them the heartbreak and mental abuse from their mother. But honestly, you're setting a bad example of what's acceptable in a relationship, and that can permanently warp their perspective on what a loving marriage should be. What Reddit said to Jason was rough at times, but it is what he needed to know. The things his wife was putting him through was pure hell, and it is very clear that she had no intention of stopping. She basically had all the cards now, and she knew she did. Jason tried making the marriage work, but even he knew it was doomed. With this overwhelming feeling and the words from Reddit weighing on his mind, Jason finally made a choice. And on November 1st, 2016, just a few days after his original post, he made an update to the thread telling people that he is taking their advice and going to see an attorney the following week. He knows she doesn't want to do anything to help fix the marriage and knows that he cannot continue living like this. Ending the post with, "Thank you everyone for helping me see how far I had my head up my ass." With this post, many Redditors showed their support by congratulating him for pulling himself together and making the choice to make a happier life for himself and his children. From there, things seemed to fade away. Jason hadn't made a post giving any updates, and most on the thread figured that he was going to move on with his life. A little over 2 weeks later, a phone call was made to the Montgomery County Police Department that would tie into Jason's story and would shock the entire community.
Montgomery County 911, where's your emergency?
203 South Madison Street,
In what town?
Darlington.
Hey, what's going on there?
I just stabbed myself and I killed my 2 children.
You stabbed yourself and killed your 2 children?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what's your name?
Brandy Worley.
Brandy what?
Worley.
Okay. How do you spell your last name?
Worley.
And where are the children at?
In my daughter's room on the floor.
In your daughter's room on the floor? Okay. What's your phone number, Brandy? And what caused you to do this today?
My husband wanted a divorce and wanted to take my kid. I won't let him have my kid.
Okay, and how old are your children?
7 and 3.
10 and 3?
7.
7 and 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And where did you stab yourself at?
In the neck.
Okay. Are you bleeding?
Yeah, there's blood everywhere.
Okay, and where are you at?
In my living room.
You're in your living room?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and are you armed now with the knife still?
No, it's in my children's room.
November 17, 2016, 4:36:21.
Okay, are you still there? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, where's your husband at?
Downstairs somewhere.
Okay, what's his condition?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him.
And when you say downstairs, is he in a basement or?
Yeah.
November 17, 2016, 4:36:51.
Okay, what's his name?
Jason.
His what?
Jason.
Nathan?
Jason.
Jason? Jason Worley?
Yeah.
A woman by the name of Brandy Worley called 911 to report that she had killed her 2 children and attempted to kill herself because her husband wanted a divorce and to take the kids. Shortly after this broke into the news, links started to flood the thread Jason posted on, with people fearing that this was the same story, some confirming it as true. Yet, Jason was nowhere to be found, which if this was true would make complete sense. And the longer things went quiet on Jason's part, the more the community started to worry. Then, it was finally confirmed that Jason in Hell was the same Jason Worley Brandy was married to. Everyone's nightmare came true, that Jason's children were both murdered by their mother, Jason's wife, Brandy. Brandy was arrested and charged with the murder of her and Jason's children, Tyler and Charlie Worley. Tyler being 7 and Charlie being 3. She originally pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, but in the end she was found sane and guilty for her actions. She received 65 years in prison for Charlie's murder and 55 for Tyler's, totaling 120 years in prison. When asked to comment, Jason told the news that he was glad she didn't get the death penalty because it was what she wanted, and is glad that she will have to live with the fact that she killed both of her children. He finished by saying that he never wants to see her again. Their divorce was finalized in March of 2017. Jason went back to Reddit one more time, using a different username that has now since been deleted. He addressed people's questions about how he was doing. He said that he was getting to a better place, but the road there hadn't been easy. He lost his job, became a recluse, and struggled with alcoholism. He also attempted to end his own life, but thankfully, he was saved. His family and friends had been a very strong support group for him, and he continues to try to make his life better each day. He gained his job back and is working his way back up to where he was before all of the things happened with Brandy. He also told that Brandy's family has not been easy on him. There were several legal issues that came up with the property that he lived on, and on top of that, they would not even allow him to visit the graves of his children, actually waiting at the graveyard and watching him, allowing him no privacy to mourn. Because of that, he hasn't been able to visit as much as he would like. He left the thread with these warm words. If I can impart on you something that I have learned through all of this, it is that you should always take the time to be with the ones that you love. It doesn't matter if they are asking you to read The Pokey Little Puppy for the millionth time, or asking you to play Smash Bros, even though you both know they will wipe the floor with you every time. Just do it, because you never know what time will be the last time. Always make sure they know how much you love them. I had the fortune that the last thing my children ever heard me say was, "I love you, good night. I will see you in the morning." That is the story of Jason in Hell. I know this was a tough one, and I truly do hope Jason is coping the best he can and finding peace. If any of you out there are struggling, remember that there are numerous services available, and I care about all of you. I'm ending the video here on a different note, because it would be in poor taste to end it how I normally do. Just remember, you matter, you are important, and you are all amazing. Stay safe out there, friends. Good night.